Okay, 4th, 2008. We'll start with Ashtpadi number 25. Oh, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ
हाँ नहीं हेलो
ਇਹਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ।
ਇਹਦੇ तो है ही नहीं
January 4th, 2008. We're starting with Ashtpadi 25.
In our last sitting, Gurbani was giving us a message in Ashtpadi 24th. The last line says, Sacha Sahib Seviya Gurmukh Vasai Mane Aaye Sada Rang Rate Sach Syon Apni Kripa Kare Milaye Ape Kare Karaye Ape Ikna Sutyan De Jagaye Ape Mel Milaye Da Nanak Shabd Samaye. And the message was, Sacha Sahib Seviye. Start the process by recognizing the fact that you are meditating upon the name of the ultimate truth. Sacha Sahib. Why is that important? Because the experience has shown over the ages that whenever somebody started the journey by focusing on anything other than the Sacha Sahib, they eventually got distracted. They got off the track. They couldn't stay on the path. Whatever was the focus, whatever symbol was the focus, the symbol became more important and the focus got lost. As Gurbani reminded, if you stay on that, then also bear in mind that whatever gift, whatever reward are coming, they are a grace, they are a prasad, they are not the rewards. That's not a cause and effect. It's not an action-reaction equation. If you act and there is a reaction, that may be okay in the physical world. In the metaphysical world, whatever reaction is there, if any, that is due to His grace. Now, if that is not kept in mind, then the ego will come from the back door and pull you back down to the physical dimension again. And that's why it is reminded here, Ape kare karaye ape. You have to remember that. Even though in the physical appearance it looks like as if you are doing it, if you ask anybody else from outside, they will insist that you acknowledge that you are doing it. Otherwise, you are being a smart aleck. Otherwise, they say, see, he is too smart. He is saying that, he is doing that, yet he is saying, well, it's not me. So that you can't catch him ever. You cannot, he doesn't take the responsibility, yet he is doing it. And it sounds so logical. But that is logical only in the physical dimension. It's logical in the intellectual dimension. It may be logical in the emotional dimension. Emotions never have a logic. But let's say that it may sound okay emotionally as well. But mystically speaking, spiritually speaking, that is a false belief system. When you are in a mystical environment, you have to remind yourself, I am just the instrument of some other energy that's flowing through me. That's why it was reminded, आपे करे कराए आपे, एक ना सुत्यां दे जगाए. Those who could never have been imagined to even be on such a journey, with His grace, certainly they appear to be running fast. And many times we will say, well, what happened to him? He was okay. Only a few days ago I met. Now I'm seeing it totally different, totally changed. I don't understand. What magic happened? There is no magic. It is that energy, that grace came and shook the entire foundation, and now it's a different direction. Ikna sutyan de jagaye, ape mel minaye da nanak shabd samaye. What is the process? What happens when His grace comes? He says they then get hold of that shabad, that word. And by the use of that shabad, that word, they become one with the one. And in continuation of that thought, 25th Ashatpadi picks up the same message again and repeats it. Satgur seviye man nirmala bhaye pavit sharir. He says, when you are on that path, you pick that word, Nanak Shabad Samaye. If you pick that word and you start on that path, doing what? Satgur seviye. Seviye doesn't mean seva karni. Seviye doesn't mean service. Seviye means sivriye. Seviye means simriye. Seviye means japiye. When you take that shabad and start meditating on that, then what happens? This is mana nirmala. There is an inner alchemy changes taking place. And when the inner changes come in, nirmala means it becomes clean, it becomes pavitra, it becomes holy. When the inner changes, then automatically that reflects outside. Bhaye pavit sharir. Now, one thing to note here, observe the sequence of the changes taking place. What is the emphasis of other religions? When you go to any religion, any master, what do they tell you? They give you certain physical exercises and say, go get up this way, take the bath this way, light up the essence this way, light up the lamps this way, clean the environment, clean your body, and then sit down. Isn't it? What does that tell us? The journey for majority of the people is from outer to the inner. Gurbani takes exception to that. It's not ignoring the inner or the outer, but it's saying your focus should be on the inner first, and the outer will automatically reflect. Your body will want to be clean because your thoughts have become cleaner. But if your body is clean, your mind may still remain the same way polluted. That's the reason the focus in Sikhism shifted. And that's why in Bani you find these sequences turned around. Poetically, they could have said Satgur Seviye Tan Nirmala Bhai मन होवे पवित्र कह सकते सन इतना रिवर्स विच but that's not how it's said. It is said no, mind becomes purer and then the body follows. As we go along, it is somewhere in the 900th page, if we ever get there in this life. We are only on page 69. There it says Jio Nirmal. Jio means inside. Jio Nirmal. Baharo Nirmal. Inside pure, outside pure. And then it repeats. Baharo Ta Nirmal. Jio Nirmal. Outside can only be considered pure or clean if the inside is clean. Because when you look around the world, it doesn't matter which part of the organizations you go to, there is no exception to that rule. When you look at them from the outside, they will impress you like nothing. My God, look at the dress, look at the makeup, look at the shiny white everything. But when you talk to them, when you listen to their hopes and dreams and failures and successes, suddenly you are thrown back. I have personally repented and become mad with myself. Why did I go and see this person? I was okay just listening to his words. I was so much at peace because of words alone, having not met them. I had the urge to go meet them. And after meeting, I couldn't even now listen to their words. Those tapes are just packed in their touchy cases. I have close to 400 tapes of a single individual. I just bought them. Somebody sent me one sample tape. And I went on the internet and bought all 400 of them. They came in 6 attache cases. Those 90 minutes tapes. And now they are sitting in the garage on the top collecting dust. Because I met him. I don't know if any one of you have that experience or not. But Gurbani gives the witness to that in your life, majority that you will come across will have the reverse effect. They will be impressive from the outside. Gurbani says, Galli asi changiyan, achari buriyan. Mano kusudha kaliyan, bahar chitviya. Translated, Galli. In talks, in words, we come across as holiest of the holy. Galli asi changiyan. Achari, but in character, Asim buriyan. We are the lowest of the low. Mano kusudha kaliyan. Inside there is only darkness and shades, but outside pure white. So the statement here is very, very significant, because in the 24th Ashtapadi it has given us Sacha Sahib Seviye Gurmukh Vase. Mane I, if you go on that path, you will be graced with his blessings. But it reinforces, going on that path, remember, the inner cleanliness is of a higher level than the outer. And if inner is still polluted, you are not going to go anywhere. So that's why it is repeated here, saying सतगुरु सेविये मन निर्मला भय पवित्र शरीर, मन आनंद सदा सुख पाया भेटिया गहर गंभीर. And this is a very common question that I am usually asked in Gurdwara, because I have been emphasizing that we need to understand what is the true meaning of a kirtan. So somebody asked me even in last Sunday and said, well, sometime listening to kirtan you certainly forget the time and space, and you are in a very kind of a trance-like environment. Once in a while it does happen, does it not? And if it happens, is it not a bhakti? And I was trying to share with him that if the music takes hold of your body and muscles and relaxes them, that's equivalent of taking a drug and going to sleep, and you'll feel refreshed after a sleep. It has nothing to do with the consciousness, awareness going at a higher plateau. You have to be very, very clear of this distinction. Just because you're listening to a good music, you go to orchestra hall, those on the Broadways or Radio City Music Hall or anywhere where large orchestras are playing, and you spend a few hours in that hall with the inspired music and the conductor, and you are taken with them for that moment. You go to see a good movie, and sitting in the hall, you are not left with any concept of time till the movie finishes. Please don't confuse that with the meditation. All it has done is taken the mind and suspended it from all others except this one. Meditation is only when the mind is suspended from everything else except the memory of that. If the mind is focused on anything else, it's not meditation. This is what is called in Gurbani, Nachan Kuddan Man Ka Chao. All these entertainments are for the mind to have some fun. That's it. And that's what is being repeated here also. It's saying, Man Ananda Bhaya. The definition of Anand is not I enjoy it. बड़ी अच्छी चाय बनाई है, बड़ा मजा आया. You take a sip of the tea, it's so good, you say, wow, I'm enjoying it. That's not Anand. That's not Gurbani's Anand. What word does Bani use for such thing? It's case ras. Ras aaya jebanu. Anand nahi. What is Anand then? Well, ask Gurbani. What is your Anand? आनंद भया मेरी माए कदों सतगुरु में पाया. That's the आनंद. Rest is all रस चाखना, स्वाद लेने. So it says man anand. When the mind is in that state of anand, when Satguru from inside has personified itself, then what happens? Sada Sukh Paya. Then this becomes an eternal Sukh for you. Once you are at that state, then the body's pain and body's pleasures would have no significance for you. You will go beyond that. You will transcend it. Sada Sukh Paya Bheteya Gehar Gambhir. It's a serious subject. It's a deep subject. You are into Bheteya Kisanu Gehar, means very deep. Gambhir means very serious and sincere. No marketing language here. It never occurs to the marketeer when they say the best film of all times, don't miss it. And then there is next to it the same advertisement. Best of all times, don't miss it. And there is another one sitting right next there, and you read the whole page, everybody is saying best of all times. And they are reading the same newspaper in which they are putting the advertisement. It doesn't even faze them why we are calling all this thing best of all times. Well, that's called marketing. It's exaggeration, it's falsehood. In Gurbani, in mysticism, there is no exaggeration. There is no false advertisement. If it is saying this, it really is of that quality. मन आनंद सदा सुख पाया भेटिया गहर गंभीर सच्ची संगत बैसना सच नाम मन धीर. And say, when you are in the company of those who are the seeker of the truth, you will be surprised to note that it is having an effect on you as well. When there was a tadap or a talqi, when there was a certain excitement outside, when you are in the company of such souls who are on the path, you also certainly feel a quietude coming inside you. Sach man dheer, dheeraj aa raha hai, automatically settle ho raha hai. Whereas if you are by yourself and there was no noise in the house, you feel little restless. As we say, a naughty child, if he is quiet, then there is something wrong with it. That's the quality of the mind. When you are alone and the mind is not doing anything, you know there is something wrong. So then what it will do? It will turn on the radio, it will turn on the television, it will pick up the telephone, it will do something. But in the company of those who are that, if someone was to turn on the television now, what would everybody do? It will bother them, right? They have come into that space where they need now quiet. That's the impact of that sangat. That's what it's pointing out. Sachi sangat baisana. When you are in that environment, what happens? Sach naam manadhir. Those true words start bringing a certain quietude, certain stability inside yourself automatically. Man re satgur sev nisang. Now this is a message to those who think, well, nobody else is doing this. If I do it, they're going to call me crazy. जिन्होंने संग आ जाते, शर्म आ जाती है कि एवं 4 दिन 24 घंटे वाहगुरू 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 करता तुरता फिरता कोई होर गल नहीं आती. शर्म आती है, दुनिया कहती है इनू की हो गया. Gurbani says those who fall in that trap, they don't go anywhere. So you need to, when you pick up that path, you need to free yourself of that type of a bond. शर्म नहीं आनी चाहिए दुनिया को. इस काम तो शर्म नहीं आनी चाहिए, झिझक नहीं आनी चाहिए, संग नहीं आनी चाहिए. ने संग, बिना संग कीते, बिना शर्म कीते. मन रे सतगुर सेव निसंग. Don't hesitate. Don't be shy about it. Don't worry about what the rest of the world tells you. You know why you are doing it, what you are doing it. You are doing it for your inner evolution, and the outer should be totally insignificant, which is one of the major stumbling block in our way. अजी दुनिया दा की करिए, समाज दा की करिए. If we do this, what should I do with the society? And I have seen both types of people. Say, for example, if you have set up a time for yourself to do this meditation, and a friend calls or a friend comes in to visit you, invariably we will postpone what we are doing and will attend to the social. But those who have become serious enough, they will apologize from the friend and say, would you please give me this time and come later on? I'll get back to you on the telephone after so much time, but I'm busy right now. Think about it. What is our inclination? We will take the first choice 99% of the time. कोई नहीं इन बात कर लेंगे, इन्हें अटेंड कर लेंगे. That's what causes that's what tells as to where your inner pull is. The outside distraction came, bam. And we have seen our attendance here variable exactly on that. Now I am sure next session there will be a lot more people and they all will have the same explanation. We had guests, we were busy, we were doing this, we were doing that. Perfect explanation. And very comfortable with that explanation. Whereas those who are on the path, they will be very uncomfortable with that. They want to use that as a crutch. And that's what is being said here. Manare Satguru Sev Nisang. There should be no hesitation, there should be no compromise. More sincere and serious you become about it, which is what it said here. Man anand sada sukh paya bheteya gehar gambhir. More serious you become about it, more you will be able to do manare Sadguru Sev Nisang. Sadguru Sevye Harman Vase Lagge Na Mail Patang. When you are on that path, then it has been known that the mind automatically starts dropping the negative energy, mal, impurity, starts dropping. सच्चे शब्द पत उपजे सच्चे सच्चा नाओ जिन्नी हौमे मार पछाणिया हाँ तिन बल हारे जाओ मनमुख सच न जाननी तिन ठहर न कतहु थाओ. Those who have followed this path, it has been observed their ego went down. Ego had to be let go, otherwise the path was not advanced. So what happened here? Jinni haume mar pachanya. Those who recognized, was able to see that ultimate truth, they also found out that the ego had to be destroyed. When they destroyed the ego, they were able to see that. And how did they destroy the ego? How tin bal hare jao. The common translation is that as if the Guru is saying that main unna de qurban ja raha. That's not what it is. say now how the ego balhar surrender kar diti gayi 100%. Why? You see, surrendering to an equal is very difficult. Surrender to the lower or the younger is almost impossible. But surrendering to the higher becomes very easy. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਝੁਕਣਾ ਸੌਖਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਤੋਂ ਛੋਟਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਡਾਂਟੀਦਾ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਦੇ ਬਰਾਬਰ ਹੋਵੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮੁਕਾਬਲਾ ਕਰੀਦਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਪੀਟ ਕਰੀਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਹੋਵੇ, right? Isn't that a normal growth pattern? The younger we control, the equal we compete, the higher we bow. Because those souls who accepted that higher state and that higher entity, they surrendered. Their own ego was surrendered to that highest energy. But those who do not understand that, what happens to them? Manmukh sach na janani tin thaur na kathu thao. Those who have the arguments and intellect for themselves to say, where is the creator? Prove it to me. Even today, there was a news that some 200 doctor of literatures have gotten together and published a brand new book in which they have endorsed the theory of revolution, theory of evolution and not the theory of creation. And they are saying to the students, theory of creation should not be taught because it misguides them. So then a Christian philosopher asks them a question. If you tell the students right from the beginning that there is no God, would there be any reason for them to be ethical or moral? Think about it. If there is no God, how do you teach the man child the morality and the ethics of the society? Because it is only the fear of God that keeps them in that line. If there is no God, then I'm not responsible for anything. Whatever I do, action and reactions are there. I'll face the reaction, that's okay. If there's no higher law. And the answer came back, no, you can teach the morality and ethics based on the religion, but the rest of it should be based on the science. But the thing that puzzles me is that they don't take a very fundamental question when they say, when the primordial dust settled down in a liquid form, and out of that liquid the first cell or amoeba, I think they call it, right? Yeah. Single cell organism was born. And what boggles my mind is that when that single cell was born, how did it get the energy to move around? Right? I mean, it was just dust. That dust is not moving around. And on the National Geographics, in the late last nights, I normally sit and watch that channel 72, Discovery Channel, and they show all these things. That here the erosion of the ocean, etc., and dust, and it's all a, see Punjabi chikad kehne, mud all around, and out of the mud then they just pick up with a shell. See, there is a little fish here, there is this animal here, there is this animal here, and it's moving around. And they don't touch that subject at all. How did it start moving? Okay, let's stop talking about the life. Let's just start about talking of pure science. If two molecules of hydrogen and one molecule of oxygen combined with the help of the lightning made the first water drop, who made that law? That when two of this and one of this, it should look like that. Because as a computer student, science student, I know that when the first computer was developed and the system programmers in the highest level language wrote the first program to teach the computer to interpret, they said 0, 0 will mean this and 0, 1 will mean this. So the decision of 0, 0 meaning something was also told by someone else. So 2 plus 2, computer doesn't know, it's supposed to be 4. It was programmed in that when 2 plus 2 you see followed by an equal sign, then you are going to plug in 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0s, things like that, which will mean 4. So when, in the same sense, when there is nothing, just like when there was no computer language available, and somebody has to say, when I push this key, it's going to mean A. When I push this key, it's going to mean B. And when I put them together, this is going to mean this. Where did the intelligence come from that when there are hydrogen and oxygen, it will be water, but when it is a hydrogen and chlorine, it will be an acid?
Chemical property.
And that is the question. That's how they explain a property. Who put that property in? How did that property develop? If they are able to explain in the theory of evolution, how did these, you are only saying H2SO4 is a sulfuric acid. But who said when 2 molecules of hydrogen and 4 of sulfur and oxygen are put together, they are going to burn everywhere they touch? Where did this property come from? Oh, millions of evolution, millions of years of evolution. How? This variation in the nature, where did it come from?
Somebody programmed.
Somebody is there writing this program. That's the only way I can get out of this dilemma. But I have read Darwin, I've seen the analysis, I've heard the arguments of it, and it falls back on the story of Nanak when he was asked who was before him. And I have shared that story with you. he asks someone to bring some stones, and he asks them start counting how many stones are there, and as someone will start 1, 2, 3, and he'll stop them, say count it properly. And he's now, when the person gets completely exasperated, where is the error? Well, I don't understand why you're just starting with 1 every time. And couldn't understand. Well, he said, well, you have to start somewhere. Well, that's your answer. You have to start somewhere. Prior to 1, there was nothing. You started with 1. If I ask you, why are you starting with 1 all the time? You say, well, I have to start somewhere. And the same answer I gave you. You're asking, say, who was before God? We had to start somewhere. We start with God. So understand this, that those who follow that mind is what Gurbani is talking about in this line, manmukh sach na janani. The word for those people Gurbani uses is manmukh. Those people who follow their own mind, whatever comes on into their own mind. For them, sach na janani, the truth is never can be shown to them, never explained to them, they will never understand it, they will never accept it. It is a waste of time because they are following their own mind. Then what happens? They are not going to find the state of quietude anywhere in this life. That peacefulness, that blissfulness would not be available to them in this life form until they drop the mind, until they drop that attitude. Those who drop that attitude, what happens to them? Sach khana, sach penana, sache hi vichvas, sach salahana, sache shabd nivas, sab atam ram pashanaya gurmati nijgarvas. For them it becomes an absolute easy flowing thing, which is then they are into sach khana, sach penana. They are focused on the truth in every activity of their life. So then what would be sach khana? What will be eating then? What is the eating that's truthful? Something that nurtures your mind body without making it sick. What is sach pahanana? Which leaves the mind body system in a dignified form to stay in the society. So all superfluous taste of the tongue or the decorations of the body will lose meaning. They'll drop. The mind body system will start becoming more simple, more simple, more simple. I mean, I see that in particularly in Punjabi homes. If there is only 1 dal and 1 roti, and I say, "Banaya kuch nahi aaj." Unless there are a couple of vegetables and there is some meat and there is some this and raita and dahis and this, all these things till the table fills up with various plates and dishes. Oh, the dinner nahi bane. What would the simple mind do? आज 2 रोटियां फड़ा, दाल फड़ा, मैं प्यूं के बच्चे मुझ पर टेढ़ भर गया गल गल. That's it. What is required? Some protein, some.
That is the Punjabi food.
That's exactly right. It used to be.
But the बाकी ते शहरियां में.
आजकल सारे शहरी होए. all tastes. I mean, you tell me, why is this in all societies now? That if I have been to a party with one dress, in the presence of those people, I am not going again with the same dress. Isn't that amazing? Well, no, I mean, yeah, ladies more so. Huh? They all remember. Yeah, of course they remember. They'll say, तुसा शाल जेड़ा वो मैं तारे उत्थे नहीं सी पाया देखिया हाँ ना ladies will say I seen that necklace in your before, did I not? So what's wrong with this now? No. Then you say, next time I better take this or buy a new necklace. That is called jhootha pehnna. When the clothes become your focus to impress others rather than taking care of your own body, then it becomes all false. And that's what Gurbani is pointing out. Sach khana, sach pehnna, sache hi viche vas. Okay. Sada sach salahana. What's sada sach salahana? When we get together, what do? Our ears have the need and desire to hear the criticism as well as the appreciation. So when we get together, what do? We criticize the others and appreciate the self. That's called falsehood. When you are on that path, it will reverse. And what would you say then? Kabira sabte ham bure, ham taj bhalo sab koe. Right? The whole thing will totally reverse. You will be embarrassed and ashamed to say anything good about yourself, or if somebody will say, you will humbly apologize, please don't embarrass me, I am not that what you think or what you're saying. But no, we actually prompt the other. क्यों जी आज किस तरह लगा? Was the food okay? How do I look? What is being sought after? Appreciation from the other of the self. And Gurbani says, when you get into that, what you will see? Sada sacha salahana. So, if you do not have anything good to say about the other, what would you do then if you are on the path? You will not talk about the other, you will start the topic of the ultimate truth. You will start saying, उस क्या खूबसूरत दुनिया बनाई है, क्या खूबसूरत चीज़ां बनाई हैं, कुदरत कितनी महान है, करता कितना unlimited है, and you will got on those conversations rather than saying तुसी बहुत सोहने लग रहे हो, इनू झल्ली नू कपड़ा भी पाउणा नहीं आउंदा. Gurbani is giving us a practical solution, word by word, example by example, saying, here is how your behavior pattern will shift if you are on the right path. Here where what your behavior pattern shall be if you are not on the right path. Choice is yours. That's one thing good about all religious people who are true religious. They just give you the formula and then walk away. Those who are not true, they will stay there in front of you and say, do you accept it? And if you say, well, before you say no, understand that either I'm going to kill you or I'm going to die while converting you. But the true spiritual, true mystic will just give you this and then walk away from you and say, it's your destiny, it's your choice. And that's what is being said here. Sab Atam Ram Pachanya Gurmati Nij Gharwas. Then, when you are on the right path, you see those things inside you. Atam, inside, it's not the outside. Sach Vekhan Sach Bolana, Sachi Sakhi Upadesh Sach Sache Sachi Soe. जिन्नी सच विसारिया से दुखिए चले रोए. What is such vekhana? How do we see such? Whenever we see anybody, we do not see the characteristics of the body. We remind ourselves that it is His creation and see there is. Imagine the Creator inside. Now you're trying to see the truth. But if you see the behavior pattern from the outside, you have now attached yourself with a falsehood. Because the behavior of the other, good or bad, will eventually change, eventually shift as the time goes by. You can see within your own self how many childhood habits you are still with. Most of them are gone. Some new have been picked. And as you go along, some of those will drop and the others will be picked. It's a natural phenomena. So, how do you see truth? You go straight to the core. And when you see that core, then there is absolutely no way to be able to form judgment about the individual. Because core is always the same. We form the judgment only from the outside. That's such vekhana, such bolana. Understand that such word is underlined. Gurbani is saying, what is such bolana? When you are talking about the ultimate creator, whose Adi Sach, Jugadi Sach, Hai Bhi Sach, Nanak Hosi Bhi Sach, when you are in that pure form of exchange, conversation, you are in the mode of Sach Bolana, telling the truth. Everything else becomes a social convenience. And we all use. We were talking on the way that when we want to not to offend somebody, what do? We say, well, I'm really busy, so please excuse me. I have a lot of work to do at home. And then we go home and go to sleep. That was a lot of work. So those are social lies. And we'll say, well, that's how the world is. I remember there was a good old movies in which the whole plot was that a scientist develops a chemical, a tablet. Anybody who eats takes that tablet, till that tablet is in the system, he cannot tell a lie. There was a recent movie, Liar, Liar, in which the child wishes that my father should not be able to tell a lie for the next 24 hours. And he's an attorney. And he's defending a divorce case. And it's a hilarious thing that how he gets into trouble because anybody asks a question and he blurts out exactly what he's thinking, and he gets slapped around so much by the court, by the judge, the people in the elevator. And hilariously, he's riding in the elevator and there is a buxom lady riding in the same and they strike a conversation, and she's how are you, and he cannot tell a lie. He says, I'm watching your boobs. She slaps him.
Jim Carrey
Jim Carrey, yeah.
does a good job.
No, but what I'm saying to you is, in the society, they look at it in a hilarious way and made it funny. But most of those statements were actually truthful. But we don't say truthful because the society is not geared to listen to the truth.
So you're saying that social lies are not
They are not acceptable in the realm of spirituality. With the God, you cannot say, I really wanted to do the meditation that day. Honestly, I really did. I'm not telling a lie. I wanted to do that. Scout's honor. Me Lord, I was trying to.
You can't say that to the God.
You can't say to the God because he already knows it.
That's what I was saying this morning. And I'm saying this, that, and I said, why am I saying all that? You already know everything. I remembered you. Why does he मिलना सी ना? बड़ी जल्दी कॉपी से आ गया. I said, why am I saying all that? So you already know.
You already know that.
Anyway.
Your will be done. Thy will be done. And that's what is being said is, सच वेखण, सच बोलना, तन मन सच्चा होए. Now look at the arrangement here. मन हुण पिछे आए थे, तन अगे है. Because the behavior pattern has to change. कर्म इंद्रियां कम माड़ा करना सीख गईयां ने. So you have to modify the karma indri. It's not a man tan now. It is tan man. Why? Because it's talking about the karma indriya. Bolna, vekhna, sunna, khana, peena, panna. Those are the bhog of karma indriyas. And the karma indriyas have to be taught to do the right action. But the karma indriya will not learn the right action till you have internally first convinced yourself that that's the right action. If the mind says, oh, this is too idealistic. Yeah, it is, though it is correct, but it is too difficult, it's too idealistic. Then you try to tell your mind that, try your hand or mouth to do the right thing, it will never do it. See the relationship? Look how precise these things are, and if we just read it and not really see that in the first case the man was ahead of the game because the change is being asked. When the mind is changed and accepts it, now you have to come and force the tan to follow the man. सच बोलना हुण जीवा नूं सिखाना पएगा. So rather than saying and telling a lie, you will develop the courage to say, I'm not going to come to the function for the reasons best left alone, or for the reasons which I cannot go into with you right now, and just drop that. Rather than make a lie out of it, you will try to become more and more truthful. I mean, I'm not saying that suddenly you say, I am not coming to your party because I don't like you. But you can say that there are reasons which I cannot go into with you right now. And then drop it. And you will start making those kind of changes. Because inside is telling you, don't tell a lie. Get closer to the truth. Change this pattern. Break this habit. But we don't. And these things, we are tested every moment of our life. So you will start putting your mind-body system in that practice. If the food is not to your taste and you need to communicate that, you don't have to tell a lie or make a lie or I'm not hungry. And you are hungry. The food wasn't good. So you can say, I feel like eating something else. Would you prepare something else?
Or something decent.
Well, believe me, when you are on that path, nature helps you. And slowly or slowly you start refining this.
If you're on that path, you will say everything is fine.
Well, that's another side of it. That's the other side of it. Yeah.
You start accepting everything.
Everything. Yeah. But in that case, when the other side is insisting, is it good? Is it okay?
No, it's not okay.
Okay.
Now, I mean, the people who know me, they never ask me, is the food good? Because my answer is absolutely fixed. Everything is good. And it is good. It's not a lie. For me, it is good. You are a liar. It cannot be. You have to have a choice. You are a man. I mean, I was told in a party, tell me what should I make to please you. I said, you always please me. I said, that's a lie. It's okay. If you take it as a lie, I'm okay with that too. I'm not going to fight that. If you see me as a liar, then that's fine. Because your opinion of me is not a hell of a lot important to me.
That's another problem.
And that could be a problem for you. It is not for me. If it's a problem for you and you want to create a distance, and that's okay also. Now, for those who are into the pattern of manmukh, sach na janani, those who are not listening to the Guru, for them this will become very difficult. Once they have accepted that there is inner change necessary, they will slowly start seeing themselves the ultimate truth of this all, that these are learned behavior and we can slowly change them and we should change them. However impractical they appear right now, however idealistic they sound right now, they need to be worked on. Think about it. If they are so idealistic and you won't even try it, can you tell your child to do this then? Should you not tell your child what is the ultimate truth just because you found it impractical? Would you not be accused of never even telling that there is a possibility of living life this way to the child, whether the child can live or not, whether the child chooses it or not, for you to withhold that just because, well, it's difficult, it's idealistic? Should you not talk about the ideal? Should you not teach the ideal? I submit to you that would be far more dangerous, far more injurious to the child to hide the ideal, because ideal is difficult to live by your mental. You want to expose yourself and your offspring to the ideal of spirituality. And to whatever extent you can go. Right? We know a child in the history whose mother exposed that child at the age of 5. Right? Dhruv. What is Dhruv? Bhagat Dhruv and Prahlad both were children. And Dhruv, because he is the son of the first wife, and the younger wife's son is playing in the lap of the father, and Dhruv comes and wants to play to sit in the lap of the father, and the mother of the other one, who is younger in age, pulls him away, and the father does not stop her. So he goes to his mother and says, "Why have I been insulted this way?" And she tells the truth. She doesn't show the jealousy. She doesn't say, she says, "I have a weakness in me." Which is what? Well, I haven't done much of bhakti. I'm not closer to the Creator. Had I been closer to the Creator, you have been respected everywhere without any reservation. And he says, "Oh, so that's the secret. Fine, then I'm going to do so that which would never get me insulted again by anyone." And off he goes into meditation. Now he is being punished, he is being asked to change the ways and not to meditate on the highest state, and he says, "I am not going to leave this. I am not going to let my mother's milk be insulted again. मेरे माँ दे दुध नू लाज लग गई है, ये नहीं करने देंगा." So a word to the growing intellect can have a magical effect. The things that we may find so difficult not to do, the child can do it. So because they are difficult, don't hold them back. So what should you do? सच वेखन, सच बोलना, तन मन सच्चा सोए, सच्ची साखी उपदेश सच. Sakhi literally means story. If you're going to tell a parable, a metaphor, explain the metaphor in truth. Don't tell a lie. And we have seen the examples right here in my own life. When somebody told the story of Guru Nanak going to taking the animals to the pasture to feed them, somebody asked to the teacher, a person who cannot take care of the animal, a person who wastes the money given by the father, how could he become a guru? And the teacher has no answer. Why? Because the story is false, was communicated in a false way. The real message behind the story was not known either to the teacher nor it was taught. So student challenged it in the class. Same thing happens to us. Children will say, "Grandma, read me a story before I go to sleep." So you put them in the lap and you'll start reading a story. Now if the child hasn't fallen asleep before you finish it, you have a responsibility to tell that child the metaphor message behind it. Otherwise they'll take it literally and start believing in it and they'll go astray. And that's what it is asking here. Sachi Sakhi. Story should be truthful. Upadesh is such. If you're going to preach somebody, then don't preach the falsehood. Sache, sachi, soe. Soe means the name and fame spreading around. Shobha. Jinni sach visarya se dukhiye challe roe. Those who have ignored the truth behind all messages and all way of life, they waste the life completely here and eventually go away in repentance. Satguru jini na sevyo se kit aaye sansar. That's a rhetorical question, saying if you are not doing that, then tell me, why did you take birth in the human form anyway? Because everything else that you're doing is being done by all other life forms. Sleeping, eating, getting up, working, raising family, breeding, extending this, extending. All other birds, animals, everything, they're all doing those activities. So, you taking this form, what has added to the nature? Well, that's the only one thing that others can't do, but you can. If you didn't do that, Satguru Jini na sevyo, if you didn't do that, say Kitaye Sansar, then what was the purpose of you coming here? Jamdar badde mariye kook na sune pukar, then you are in the bondage of the time and space, and when at the end you would want to cry for help, nobody will listen to you. Laskar tarkas band jamme varo var. You would be in the cycle of life and death forever. E jag jalta dekh ke bhaj paye Satguru sarana. See, if you have seen this insidious pain of every human being, jag jalta literally means there is a certain discomfort inside every mind. Man jal raha hai, it's a muhavara. What does man jal raha means? Dis-ease. Disease comes from what word? Dis-ease. Disease. Mind-body system is diseased. Why? Because it is at dis-ease. And that is true of every human being. It doesn't matter who you talk to. They have physical maladies as well as social maladies, as well as intellectual, as well as emotional, as well as economic, as well as philosophical. I'm confused. I don't know what the hell to do here. So it says, if you have touched that boundary of discomfort, then do what? Pajapaye Sadguru Sarana. Then don't just walk, don't just start crawling around, run. Run where? To where these type of words are available. Those type of messages are available. Sadguru Sach Dadaya Sada Sach Sanjam Rahena. When you go to that company, you will find that they will tell you that you have to start on the path of Sach Sanjam Rahena. Sanjam literally means contain yourself, draw boundaries, limit yourself in your walk of life. जाओ पुत्र पैसा कमा के ला, go make a living. Okay, how much living? Draw some boundary. Buy a home. How much a home? Draw some boundary. Do shopping. How much shopping? How much clothes? How much jewelry? How much food? How much this? How much that? Start drawing boundaries. Sit down once and make a list and say, if there are 30 days in a month, I need 30 suits. Okay, fine. Have 30 suits and be done with it. Then put the lock on your eyes when it walks by and say, oh, that's a very good one. I wish could I have it. No, you needed only 30. You got 30. That's called sanjam, control. My body needs 1200 calories or 2000 calories. Okay, if 1200 calories added up, I need 2 rotiyan, 2 sabjiyan, 2 this, those, adds up to 1200. Fine, I'm done. Oh, आज खाना बड़ा सोना बना आज 3 दे दे. Now you have lost sanjam. So be practical. Start from the physical aspect of life. Why? Because your mind has already said you are tired of watching this discomfort inside. If you are not at all unhappy with it, कोई नहीं जी रोटी ज़्यादा खा ली, then so what? We'll take the Malax. A little bit heartburn, that's all right. No problem. I can deal with it. If that is the thing, that's how you are doing. First taking more and then finding the antidote. Then you are not tired of that. The condition ए जग जलता देख के भज पाए सदगुरु चरना. That means you haven't really then seen that discomfort. You are not tired of that discomfort. If you are not tired, then stay that way. If you are tired, develop the boundaries. Guru will tell you that Satgur Sach Dadaya. It will remind you need to develop some boundaries around physical, intellectual, emotional, economic, psychological, all of the ways. The only one where there is no boundary, that's a spiritual dimension. And they'll say, now you are ready to move in that. But if there is no boundary in these areas, spiritual dimension journey would not start. Satgur Sacha hai bohe tha, Shabde Bhavjala Tarana. Bohith literally means a person who actually navigates the ship, Jahaz. Jahaz da mala hai. Satguru hai Bohitha. He will help you, he will guide you to swim across these type of difficulties. How? Shabde. He will put you in touch with that word, give you that word and say, start using this. Lakh 84 फिरदे रहे बिन सतगुर मुक्त न होई पढ़ पढ़ पंडित मोनी थके दूजे भाई पत खोई सतगुर शब्द सुनाया बिन सच्चे अवर न कोई. Lakh 84 फिरदे रहे. It's in all cycles of life. Lakh 84 is just a metaphorical word. Nobody has sat down and counted. There are only 84 lakhs type of lives. It could be millions of them, it could be less and more, it doesn't matter. Basically, is a metaphorical word which says all cycles of life other than human have been going around the planet and they have not been able to transcend that cycle. Why? Because they were not able to be in the company of Satguru. A bull has no way of recognizing that there is a need to go to a Sadguru. But a human can. And unless you have that need and you recognize it and you ask for that, you don't go anywhere. And in the human body form, other karma kand, other ritualistic aspect, which one? Pad pad, pandit, moni, thakke. Just study of scriptures or a complete silence, Moan Vart Raklan, complete silence. Those type of rituals have been tried and they have not succeeded. Satguru Shabd Sunaya bin Sache Avar na koi. Ultimate message for everyone has been focus on the one and leave all other distractions on the side. Jo sache laye se sach lage nit sachi kar karan tinna nij ghar vasa paya sache mahal rahan nanak bhagat sukhiye sada sache naam rachan. Those who with his grace, with his blessing, started walking on that path, they started doing the right act. Sachi kar karan, they started doing the right act. Tena nijkar vasa paya. Nijghar means our original home, from where we all have come. That's called a nijghar. All of them ended up in the one with the original source. And who are those? Nanak Bhagat Sukhiye Sada. Those meditators, those saintly souls became the ultimate blessed ones because Sache Naam Rachan. They became one with the ultimate truth. So with that we conclude the 25th Ashtapadi, and with that we take a break here. We'll pick up from here, page 70, in our next meeting. Okay.